Welcome everybody, this is Vintage Story, and in today's video we're going to be looking at the XSKILLS mod. This is one that I've recently been starting to play with and I've absolutely fallen in love with it, so I want to recommend it and show it off a little bit. Big shout out to the mod author Zandu, who I don't know at all. This isn't sponsored. I just want to recommend it highly and maybe cover some of the basics. Now, one thing you might notice if you search for it on the Vintage Story mod database is that it's pretty light on the description. There's no picture for it and just a few lines there talking about some of the things that it's compatible with. But I want to show it off a little bit and, like I said, encourage you to go check it out yourself. So first thing to know is we open the XSKILLS window by hitting the O button on the keyboard. That is the default command, and it brings up this wonderful window right here. Now, first things first, don't get overwhelmed. There's a lot of information here, but we're going to cover some of the basics, and we're not going to read through every one of these skills on all these trees. That's, in fact, something I want to leave for you guys to discover for yourself. That's part of the fun, is reading through these when you get points. But okay, I'm getting ahead of myself here. First thing, the window can be moved just like any other window in Vintage Story, but that's the least interesting part about it. So right off the bat, there are three main skill trees here. We've got survival, and under that there's the survival skill. There's also combat and temporal adaptation. And again, we won't spoil these for you here, just pointing out that under collecting you'll see lies farming, digging, forestry, mining, husbandry regarding animals and stuff like that. Processing is metalworking, hitting things on that anvil. Pottery is even represented here, and cooking. And you can see under cooking, for instance, there's a 1 telling me that I have an ability point in my cooking. So once again, once you get the hang of looking at this window, it's actually really quick and easy to see, oh, okay, I've got some points here to place, let's go do that. But I definitely recommend, on those long cold nights when maybe you don't have a bed or something, spend some time reading through these traits, because some of them are really creative and stuff. But all right, let's get into some more of the functionality of this mod itself. So it's got experience. Essentially, as you do something, like the more pottery you make, the more experience you gain. Very simple concept. Now this plus here, don't worry about that. That's actually another mod that I've got called the working classes, which there's a patch can make those two mods work together, but you probably won't see that because I'm a cook. I do get a little bit of bonus to my pottery. I get a big bonus to my cooking, but like I said, without working classes, I don't think you'll see that there. But regardless, next under experience, we see ability points. So once again, that's where that'll be, and you can save them up. You don't have to spend them right away. Under that, we've got a very interesting concept called unlearn points, and my unlearn is actually on cooldown right now, but it's very simple. If I want to unlearn something, I simply hit this button, and as long as I have the points, I can just take away something, that I've got, replace that point in a different skill under that same tree. Now you might ask, how do I get unlearn points? Well, that's actually one of the cooler parts of this mod. One of the big complaints I have about the vanilla Vintage Story is that there's so many awesome alcohols and distilling and brewing options, but there's almost no reason to drink. I mean, you just get drunk and it essentially makes the game harder to play, so what's the point? But XSKILLS adds a reason to get drunk. You will gain unlearn points the more you drink. In fact, each alcohol is its own amount, and when you look at those, you'll see it under the tooltip. But as you drink, you accumulate, and it allows you to then go ahead and, replace your points as I described. But it's a really fun concept if you consider that by drinking, you forget your skills, so that's a really clever way. So again, big shout out to the author here again. Who needs a big description on your mod when it's really this fun and inventive and creative is what I say. But that essentially covers the basic concepts, and there's so much more to it, again, as you discover. One of the key things that I hear people like object to is that it can make your character overpowered. And although that is true, it would take you a very, very long time to become overpowered, so to speak. I mean, I've been on this character for many weeks now. Cooking is my highest skill at 23, but I've still got more points to place. You can see that right there, and there's a lot of different options. So you could eventually get an overpowered character, but you're not going to do it in one game session. I'll guarantee you that. And you know what happens if your character does get overpowered? You just install a mod like dinosaurs or something that buffs drifters and makes the game more challenging. That's what I say. But either way, guys, I wanted to recommend the XSKILLS to you, and once again just cover some of the basics because the mod page is a little light, but no shade to the creator because I'm a big supporter and lover of their work. So go and download it, everybody. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for more vintage story content, and I will see you guys on the next one.